Hello, Alina. Thank you so much for joining us today. How are you doing?
Hey Jessica, thank you so much for having me. I'm really happy to share my story with you. Yeah, I'm
Yes,
doing great. Thank
it's
you.
such an honor having you, and I discovered you a couple of months ago, or even maybe it was last year on Instagram, and I discovered you through your reels, actually, your funny reels about mindset and business and things like that. So before we dive further into our topics, tell us a bit about you, what you do, who you serve, your story.
So I used to be a foreign language teacher. I
Yes.
used to teach both like English and French, but with time I switched a little bit more like towards French because it was closer to me. I used it like more often on a
Hmm.
daily basis. So that's why I decided to narrow like my field a little bit because
Yes.
I felt that it was a little bit too much. So yeah, I think that it was maybe like I was teaching independently, maybe like for several months
Hmm.
uh, when I like went 100 like percent freelance.
Yeah. Online or
Um,
also
yeah,
offline?
I used to do a lot of classes that were not online before, but I worked a lot like with children and with teenagers before. But then this time I was working mostly with like adult people
Hmm.
because I felt that working with children, it's nice and it still can be very rewarding, but it's sometimes it's exhausting, especially when they do not see the motivation. And I can
Yeah.
understand, it's not sometimes that it like it were the parents who were pushing them, and they was
Yeah.
like, oh, they
Yeah.
I mean, we still had some fun. I tried to make
Sure.
like everything fun and interesting, but it was a challenge sometimes.
Yes. Yes.
So this time I wanted to switch like a little bit more towards
Yeah.
adult people who were more I hope so, who would be more like motivated.
Yeah, because it's an inner motivation. It's they
Yeah,
decide
totally.
themselves to do it for them. It's not like it comes
Yeah.
from outside. Yeah.
So
And then you
yeah,
pivoted.
yeah, kind of. It was interesting. I don't know. It's so weird because I think for the biggest part of my life, I didn't really ask the question
Mm,
what I enjoy and what
right.
I would like to do. But I do not blame myself because I think it's just in general in the like educational
Right.
system and the way that we raised as teenagers.
As girls.
Everybody's yeah, totally. But there is like so much pressure
Yeah.
that was put like you need to choose your career path,
Mm,
your
mm.
career path now, and you need to stick to it. And so you just like a 17-year-old teenager, what do you know?
Yeah,
You do not
exactly.
even understand
You don't know
what is
yourself,
going
right?
on. Yeah, totally. So I just chose languages because it was kind of not an obvious choice for me, but I was thinking that I was not really good at math because I
Hmm.
had horrible teachers. I think it was not my fault, because I used to really enjoy like biology and chemistry and all that. I used to be in a like natural study degree, in the high school. But then I switched to languages, and because most of my friends were doing it, so I was thinking, I
Yeah,
could do it
yeah.
too. Like,
And
why
that's the
not?
thing.
It
No, I
sounds
completely get it. And
interesting.
that's the thing with languages. Like I remember when I was studying it at university, how so many people that were there just picked it because they had to pick something, and it seemed like it
Yeah,
was never
totally.
wasted. Like learning languages is never wasted. It opens a lot of doors. And then that's a little bit the issue you have when you finish those, studies in languages is that basically you could do anything with it. Like, yeah, you can be a teacher, but you can also be a translator and you can also work in communication. And there's
Totally.
so many options that, again, you're
Hmm.
faced with the choice of like, I remember freaking out after my studies, like, okay, I have a degree now. What can I do with it? I can do so
yeah,
much. What
exactly,
do I pick?
exactly.
Right. And then
And
the
sometimes
obvious
it's too
choice.
general. It's too general,
Exactly.
and you do not really know what to do with it after,
Mhm.
and you feel lost again. And then I had all these people around me who was like, oh, okay, you speak so many languages, but what else can you do? It's this like kind of question, like, not blame, but I'm asking, but at the same time, it felt as I wasn't quite sure about
Right.
myself. I
Like
didn't
it's
know
not enough.
myself as well as a person. And then I had all this kind of attacking questions, from other people that I took so personally.
Right.
So, and I think it created a lot of insecurities in me, like
Hmm.
for a
Hmm.
lot of time, actually.
Right. Right.
So
And so what happened? What was the element that made you think, wait a minute, I can actually do something outside of languages that maybe I enjoy more? What was
yeah,
the element that made you think that?
uh, I think there was a lot of, in general, like soul searching and career searching, because
Hmm.
I did a lot of different jobs. Because I started as an independent kind of like language teacher with children and all that, but then I thought, oh, it's not serious. I should find to do something like better. It's not a real career path, real
Right,
real
right.
job. So I was like, what can I do now? And then I found and did like some other office jobs, and I don't know, I felt dead inside.
Yeah.
I didn't enjoy it. It was never really it has never been my thing, I think. But I
Hmm.
kept convincing myself that probably I should enjoy it because most of the
Right.
people enjoy it, and it's something that everybody should strive for,
Yeah.
So I was like, wow, but
Terrible feeling, right?
something felt not
Yeah.
quite well,
And then you think that you
inside.
blame yourself and you seem like there's something's wrong with me, right?
Yeah,
Everyone else seems
totally,
to, right? I remember
totally.
that.
And in general, I don't know, I think that I have difficulties sometimes to get used to people that
Hmm.
I don't really know. And then I kind of started to know them, but I do not quite enjoy, but I supposed to be in close space with them,
Right, right.
I don't know. It kind of, I felt not very good
Yeah, not in your
for,
good environment.
yeah. And then, you just wonder why you have depression, why you do not want to wake up in the morning. Why is that? Everything is so perfect. You have a normal job,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I so
So I
remember
think it
that
was
from when I
kind of a
was,
triggers, like
yeah,
there was some like bells ringing,
right.
I was like, something weird. I don't know. I do not want to do it anymore. But I don't know. I had so much fear, and I didn't quite know what to do, and I didn't know where to start. Actually, I had some ideas, but I don't know, I was in general so limited in my belief system and in like everything, that I just couldn't believe that I can do something different from what I was doing now. So it was difficult. So I think that everything started like with the language teaching, like business, the first one that I started. It was also like a roller coaster, I think, because everything was new, everything was so difficult. I didn't know how to deal, not even like with the business stuff, but with
Mm,
my emotions and with
yeah,
my like inner world, when you have all this stuff that is coming out and you do not know how to deal with it, and you
yeah,
just wake up and you spend your time not working on the stuff, but being trapped in your head, in your thoughts, like kept like in your fears and everything, and then it's just not possible to do anything. So that's how I found the first like branding coach, that I wanted her like to help me a little bit to get more clarity, to help me like to move somewhere,
mhm, mhm.
and I met a lot of nice people. We worked maybe like several months together. We put everything, like the website, the messaging, the stuff, all together. And then one day I remember I woke up and I just like, I don't want to, I don't know what to speak about, like when I when I'm on social media, I do not really enjoy it. And then I had all these clients that I needed to teach, and I was like, I don't want to do that. I couldn't explain it, you know, just like
Yes,
there was
yes.
so much resistance inside,
Mm-hmm.
and I just I kept, I don't know, I kept asking question why, you know, everything should be easier. I had everything ready, the website, the message, I don't know, the brand story. I
Right, you
should be
had
like,
all the
wow,
work.
I should
Yeah.
pop up, you know, and have so much confidence on social media and be, and create so much content and have all these clients that coming out. Sometimes it seemed that it was like, you know, resistance the first and thing, and the second one is kind of a subconscious understanding that I do not really enjoy it, so I do not
Yeah.
want to search for more clients because I don't want to do it. So I start I think that I discovered I already did it before a little bit, but I started to meditate a lot, and then I found on the internet this like very cool guy. He's doing like very advanced personal development stuff.
Mhm.
He's not coaching people, but he has like a massive channel on YouTube. And I started watching his videos because
Who
he's
is
not
it?
speaking only about it called actualize.org, his
Okay,
website,
okay.
like a bold man. It's very very advanced, the topic
Hmm.
that he's talking about, because he's speaking about like spiritual awakening and all that stuff. But when he started his channel, he was mostly focused on like personal development as career path, as relationships, as most of the stuff that we are dealing as a humans, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah,
So and I think that it's important that he like as a spiritual teacher, I don't know, he doesn't call him like that, but it's important that he talks about these topics that you need to deal with before you can think about something deeper and
yeah,
something like you know, I don't know, even if you are not quite interested in something spiritual or you do not believe in God, it's your deal. But when you do not know what you will eat tomorrow, when you know, when you are poor, when you do not when you have horrible relationships with your spouse, when you know, like your children hate you, or I don't know, you know, how you can even think about something else when you have
yeah,
all these
yeah,
problems.
yeah, yeah.
So he has, I found his course, it was called like a life purpose course,
Hmm.
something like that. It was all about like finding a meaningful career, but it was not only this theory. There were a lot of exercises and a lot of really like mindful work.
Hmm.
So I spent a lot of time like reflecting and doing all this stuff. It was something, I felt that it was something that I really needed at that point, you know, of my life. And in general, it's how I switched a little bit stuff that I was doing on my social media. I
Hmm.
decided do not put too much pressure on myself. I decided do not wait until I have everything ready. I just spoke about the stuff that worried me, that I wanted to speak about, that I wanted to share, you know. And I kind of tried different like types of content, had some fun with it, you know. I didn't
Yeah.
I
Overthink it too
wasn't
much or
yeah, totally.
strategize. It's wonderful. I love what you're saying, and it takes so much courage actually to dive into these topics that are, you know, you talk about self-development or spirituality, like have this look within. You have to be brave to do that because it's so much of it is unknown to us, and that's what we're scared about, you know, diving into the
Totally.
subconscious because you don't know what you're going to find out, and so you're worried, and we're all scared of the darkness, right? But for you to be able to say, okay, wait a minute, so far everything I've done hasn't really led me to joy or to doing things that I really care about. First, before diving into another career path, I'm going to dive within. That is super brave of
Totally.
you. Like, well done for
Totally.
to do that. So,
It's
so
not
it's an inside out
yeah.
job, definitely, right?
That it's like, you know, everybody sometimes is speaking about finding some inspiration or watching some people, or I don't know, you know. I think that it can be useful, at some degree, if you find like people who are really nice and who you really enjoy, who inspire you,
Mhm.
but it can go other, like in another direction. It can start like intimidating you, when you start
Yeah,
feeling, I don't know, unworthy, when you start comparing yourself to all
exactly.
these people who've been there for years, and you just starting out, and it's just like,
Yeah.
why I do not have immediate results? Look at those successful people, and it's
Or they
ridiculous.
look so secure, they
This,
look so confident in what they do. But yeah, that's
yeah,
something
yeah.
that you
But you
grow,
don't
right?
know how many years
Exactly.
they spend doing all this work and practicing and putting themselves out there.
Yeah,
You
and you don't
just
see them
see the
crying when
end.
they turn off the camera, you know?
Totally, yeah. Yeah, totally. So I think it's very important to be careful about this, like,
Mhm.
stuff. And the most important is to have to give yourself some space, to give yourself, like, sometimes the moments when you do nothing, to be like still, I don't know, to watch inside instead of watching outside all the time, because
Yeah,
I believe that we have all the answers, but we
exactly.
just do not
Trust
do the
ourselves.
necessary work to find them.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah, exactly. And I think I want to bounce back on what you're saying. I think that that's the risk because being inspired is great. And I think we all need inspiration in terms of believing that it's doable, or even having ideas to, some kind of direction. When you see someone doing something that you enjoy, then you're thinking, oh, maybe I could do that too, or I could be inspired and do something similar, or I don't want to do that. But using that as a way to connect to your own compass and your own intuition. The risk is when you are not connected to yourself, you're not connected to who you are and what you believe in and what the changes you want to see in the world and what you value. When you're a bit lost in terms of identity, then it can be very risky because then you start maybe following a path that is not aligned to who you are. And something I've noticed, and I really want to share with what you were saying before, because of the way we are raised as girls, as people in general, but especially as girls, because we have like this checklist of things that need to be done as women to be good girls, to be good daughters, to be good sisters, all of that. We tend to think in terms of limited, like, and also as a teacher, so many people I help are teachers, and I was a teacher too. You tend to define yourself and what you are able to do by what you were taught to do, and that this is the box in which you can evolve. But then once you're online, you start understanding that there is no box actually, and you can break the walls and break the limits and really discover, yourself and how you can express yourself fully. But again, it takes a lot of courage and it takes looking within, and sometimes it takes guidance as well, whether it's inner guidance or outer guidance. You worked with a coach, or you work with programs and things like
mhm,
that. It's important to find the tools that serve you, to connect inside. To me,
totally,
that's what it
yeah.
means. Having a business that is aligned, that's what it means. It's like looking within, knowing who you are, what you stand for, what's important to you, and then from there find your niche, your brand message, and all of these things that are important. But so, because we went on the whole story, and thank you so much for sharing it. I think it's so much valuable to the people who are going to listen to this. But so then, what do you do now?
So I started to, like, when I did all this work, I actually, what was like coming back all the time, because I remember I used to have these thoughts before that I really liked. I'm in general like a visual person. I like to do some, I don't know, to find some aesthetics when there
Mm,
is no
mm,
like any for some people sometimes, And I remember that I used to think that, oh, probably I could do maybe like website design or something. It's kind of interesting. I
right,
really like to create some beautiful like visual stuff. But then I think that at that point of my life, I just couldn't see that it was possible,
right.
because I saw this opportunity, but then right away I was like, oh, but I don't know anything, as if I couldn't learn. But I just
Yeah,
saw everything in negative light all the time,
right.
like limiting myself, as I said
Yeah,
before.
yeah.
So it's half the second time it led me again, kind of when I was thinking, and then I kind of started to create some stuff for myself, and then I reached out to some people, and then say, wow, I'm really interested, I would like you to make some stuff for me, I will pay. So I started to make this like small gigs to
Hmm.
just, I think that it is the thing, because you can imagine a lot of stuff in your head and you can think that you will enjoy a lot of stuff, but until you do the real work, until you see that it is real and that you can do it, it stays in your head.
Yeah,
You
it's
cannot
not
really
for
know
sure.
whether is it really something that you will enjoy, and whether it's something that you will want to do in the long term.
Right.
So I think it's very important when you start to do all this work and you do not really know in what direction you want to go, to start work like on some small projects, even if it's not very well paid, at the moment, even sometimes with free or maybe like exchange of services or something like that. It like it develops your skill. It's the
Hmm.
first very
Yeah.
important, step, and then it allows you to see whether it's something that you would like to do, and whether you would like to evolve in this direction, and
Mm.
what the like a personal, some twist you can make to it, to make
Right,
people
right.
to contact you, because yeah, there are many people who are doing the same stuff, but sometimes they're choosing you
Yeah,
because
exactly. Because
yeah,
you're unique, because you bring something
yeah,
something to the
totally,
table that maybe they find you approachable, maybe they resonate with you, maybe you
yeah,
bring something that is
of course,
different, right? And I think we can all bring something that is different, and that's the key to creativity. It's such a blockage sometimes for people. It has been for me in the past, to think, okay, what can I bring to the table that's different? So many people do the same thing that I do, but creativity is not bringing necessarily something new, is bringing something that is with your twist, with your energy. Nobody can
totally,
be you, and
yeah,
that's why I so do not believe in competition. Of course, competition is a market principle. You need to know who your competition is,
yeah,
and
yeah,
that's like the theory thing. But in the energetic world, we're all unique. Nobody can do it your way. They can do it their
totally,
own way, and everyone
yeah,
then appeals to someone else. Yes, wonderful. So that's what you do now, right? You help people
yeah,
uh,
I create
create their you create the website for
webs,
them. So it's a done for
but
you service.
yeah, but I do not it's kind of a little bit like more inclusive than just
Yes.
the visual parts, because as
Yes.
I said before, I would like to do also to help some people who are not quite sure in what direction they want to move. And even sometimes, as it was with me, I thought that I knew in what direction I was moving, but not at all, when the all like visual side, of the business, like website and all this stuff, was ready, you actually understand that it's not something that you want to do. And it's a
Mm,
huge risk sometimes when you invest so much time and you are really convinced. Maybe it was you who convinced yourself, maybe it was somebody else, maybe you just, I don't know, it happens that you chose what you chose. And then yeah, it's not very sustainable in a way,
right, right. So then
because
you help people find clarity in what they want to
yeah,
do, or yeah.
I think it will be like mixed with brand and website design.
Hmm.
I will offer like some a little bit more expensive packages for people who want to go in more depth, who are not
Right,
quite sure, what they want to create. But of course, I would like not to do only coaching, but to bring everything to life, like
right.
to create the website for them,
Yeah,
to so that they have like the visual representation of who they are in a
right,
way,
right.
and all this like their platform that is 100 there. I find it's important in the long term, like to have something that is really that you own, and then you can do whatever you want with.
Yeah,
It's
no,
not
I
that I
think
have
it's
something
great.
against social media, but I think that in the long term, in terms of growth, it's very important
Yeah.
to have something like that.
Yeah, social media is a tool. It cannot be your only,
Totally.
your only marketing strategy. That would be
Yeah. And
today.
then, yeah, and then
Yeah.
there is so much more than just design, because
Mm,
the website is also the strategy, is also the website copy, it's also like everything together, it's not
exactly.
just
Exactly.
some beautiful pictures and some fonts, and
No.
that's it.
No, it's a
That's why
customer's
I do not.
experience. It's what you're
Yeah,
trying to bring to the world.
that's
Yeah.
when I started. I went before on all this like fancy platforms with fancy web designers who are doing only visual stuff, and like, wow, it's so amazing, all these mock-ups and stuff, and I was like, wow, it's so beautiful. But then they doing just the visual part, and it's
Yeah.
like, that's it.
So that's
And
something I
then
would like to dive a little bit deeper with you because I really like what you're saying, and this is such a misconception. When I speak about branding sometimes, I'm going to speak more about branding soon. I speak a lot about branding with my clients, and
mhm.
oftentimes the belief is that branding equals visuals, but it's much deeper than visual branding. Can you tell us a bit more?
Totally. I think it's just one of the like milestones, I would say, the visual representation
Mm,
of you and your business, and maybe even like people who would you like to serve. It's I think it's like it's very deeply, as we say, it's about you because
yeah.
it's you who are the business owner, but then it's also about the people who you serve. It's also about the problems that you solve for other people. It's also like the offer and the
Mhm,
system that you
mhm.
create, for people to work when you are working with people. So you have like the system and everything
Mhm.
is ready sometimes to help you. Do not reinvent like the wheel all the time. So there are
Yeah, that is
so
useful.
many, yeah.
Not to reinvent the wheel every time you have a new client. That is
Yeah,
useful.
totally. At least it can be still different every
Yeah,
time with every client, and
but
it's
you have
normal because
a
we're all
process.
different,
Yeah.
but you still have some things that you do all over again because it's
Yeah.
important to do them,
Yeah, and that is part of the branding because you give, like you're saying, you give the same customer experience, even if it's different in the
Totally.
street and it's
Yeah,
personal. The customer experience is part of your branding. It's the experience that people will get and will remember feeling a certain way because you designed that journey for
yeah,
them and the way that they will feel.
totally.
Absolutely, absolutely. Okay, I think it's a wonderful way to, it's not just it's done for you, but it's also done with you. Then it's like there's the website is like
Yeah.
the conclusion. It's like the how, what word am I looking for? The beautiful
Mm-hmm.
end point to everything else that then you're doing with your clients. I'm looking at my questions because we went in every
Yeah,
direction.
yeah,
I think
totally.
we've covered a lot of things already. The inner work for the outside success is something that we've worked on. How your inner work was, very important to your outside transformation and to where you are now and what you're offering now to your audience. I wanted to talk a little bit about money mindset. Is that something that you already had to dive into questionings you've had, in terms of pricing? You were speaking earlier about how sometimes in the beginning it's okay to offer your services for free or in exchange of something.
Mm-hmm.
Have you had to deal with, accepting your own price, raising your prices? When you price a service, are you feeling like, oh my God, what am I doing? Can you feel that money mindset is an important topic to dive into?
Of course, of course. I think it's a part like of it's a huge part of your business, and when people are saying that money don't matter, they just hypocrites, because yeah, okay, maybe it cannot buy you everything, but it's
Yeah,
still important, and it can, even with when you are making a lot of money, you can create a lot of opportunities for other people,
yeah,
and you're not stealing from somebody else,
yeah,
because sometimes we are having, in general, I think that in a lot of cultures, even like not, I don't know, I was thinking like more Western maybe, culture, but I think that in a lot, not only we have this kind of negative connotations around money, then that rich people are bad, that they're stealing money from the poor people, that because of them, maybe some of them are, I don't know what the richest people are doing like in the world.
Well, we do live in a fucked up system. Like we have to
Yeah,
acknowledge
totally.
that.
Of course, I
Yes.
cannot deny it, but then it kind of creates within you, some
Like a
beliefs.
struggle.
Yeah, totally, that you keep, and you think that it's bad. And when you think that it's bad to have a lot of money, how, like, subconsciously, how consciously you can do some, like, I don't know, take some steps or do some work to have or to acquire some more money when you do not actually believe in a more deep level that you can do that.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I think in some way we are all dealing with it,
Yeah.
like with the
Exactly.
prices and
That is
everything.
absolutely true. We
And
are all dealing with it, and everyone is weird about money. It doesn't matter how much, how little you
totally,
have. Everyone has
yeah,
money mindset issues. Yes.
it's kind of, something that is awkward. In some countries it's a bad thing to ask
Yeah,
how
it's
much money
taboo.
do you make, what is your salary. It's like, you create kind of mystery.
Yeah,
You cannot
yeah.
ask this kind of stuff, but
Especially in
why, I don't
France,
know.
right? You live in France. Have you seen how taboo it is to speak about money in France? Oh my
Yeah.
God.
No, you do not ask these questions.
No, no,
It's a
the
kind of,
money mindset here is terrible.
you can guess sometimes, but you do not ask like directly. I think it's not viewed very well in general.
No, no, yeah, for sure, for sure.
So yeah, I think that it's important to like to work on this part, like
Yeah,
of you,
of
to
you, yeah.
discover. And even when you are feeling that when you maybe rise prices, or when you ask people for money, you cringe inside, I think that probably it's like a sign also that you need to ask more
Exactly.
questions. Why? Why do you feel that way,
Yeah, and how to
So
become
yeah,
more
it's
empowered in your price, It's not, you don't need to justify your price, but I think for me, that's what has helped me the most at the beginning is to understand why do I ask that price? What does it mean? And sometimes we don't have the right belief to how much things can be priced, the rates of things, and especially as teachers again, or people who
yeah.
have been used to selling things by the hour, then how do you
Mm-hmm.
justify, a certain price that is not by the hour? Because, for instance, for you, I think what you're bringing is a transformation. It's not something that can
Yeah.
really be numbered in a question of, okay, I'm putting 10 hours to create your website. It's 10 hours. I'm super optimistic here. I know it's much more than that. But,
Yeah,
it's
but
all the
it's a very good
work.
point. Yeah,
It's all the work that you've had to do to understand
totally.
how to do a website, all the work that you've had to do to know how to guide people to get to their clarity with branding, and then everything that it's bringing them for their future. It's the price on that cannot be something by the hour. It's really something that you need to calculate, in terms of how much it took you and it will take you, and how much
Yeah.
energy you're bringing there, and how much it's bringing to the person, and making the point in between.
Mm-hmm.
Some things that are not so
Yeah,
easy to, it's not like,
of
okay,
course.
I'm buying it, for instance, for people who sell art, I'm buying the Canva, I'm buying the paint, it costs me 30 euros, so I'm going to sell it 30 euros. Come on.
Yeah,
That is not how art is priced at all, because it's about how you make people feel and how you inspire them and what
of
it's bringing
course.
to their
Yeah.
everyday life. Yeah, absolutely. It's such a deep topic.
So in sometimes you need to think about it to like to understand why you put this price,
Mm, mm,
So I think that's why it's important to, as you said, I think we are so used to price everything by hour that we do not think about like the total value,
yeah,
and it's probably what is like important, what amount of value do you create for other people,
exactly.
how do you make them feel, and this is important. And how many years did it take you to get where you are, now,
Exactly.
to being able to do what
Exactly.
you do?
And how many
Yeah.
tears and
Sleepless nights. Yeah,
no, no,
totally.
exactly. That's a question that I speak a lot and used to speak a lot about with my husband as well. You know, he's an artist, and sometimes people he's a comic book artist, and so sometimes people ask him, "Can you just quickly draw something for me? How much would that cost? Like 10, 20 euros?" And he laughs because like, no, not at all. Like this is far from the price. Like, come on, just going to take you 10 minutes. And then he always adds, yes, and 20 years of training.
Yeah,
What about those
but
20 years?
it's in a way it shows you the mindset of other people,
Yeah,
and you do not need to take it personally.
exactly, exactly,
It's probably when you see this kind of attitude, you are kind of empowered, and you can say no to these people sometimes,
exactly,
so they do
exactly.
not bring you down and devalue everything that you did before, with their attitude. It's important sometimes, do not let
Yeah,
other people to
exactly.
devalue us like that, with
Yeah.
their, like, I don't
And
know,
and then maybe
worldview.
that's all it takes, right? It's like for you to be confident in your price and just kindly and compassionately explain, no, this is not
Yeah.
the price because this and because that's, you don't have to justify, but explaining to the
Mm,
person, maybe educate them to why it costs
yeah.
that much. And yeah, so it's like I love what you said, not to take it personally because it's never about you. And even if there is a judgment, it's not even about you, it's a self-judgment anyways. So that's why
Of course.
self-development is so
But you need to
important.
learn. You need to learn that
Exactly.
most of the remarks and like even um, very evil words from other people, it's not about you. It's about
Exactly.
themselves. And you
Exactly.
just happen to be, I don't know, in front of them. So
Yeah.
they try to. So it's sometimes when I think that I'm getting better with it, but I also took a lot of things personally, and I used to have a lot of triggers.
Hmm.
But when somebody says something and it makes me sad, or it makes me like feel bitter about myself, but it's because I have unsolved issue with this stuff inside of myself, and then
Yeah.
I'm judging myself, and
Yeah.
I'm using other people to say that they are judging me, but it's you
Exactly.
judging me.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yes.
I can tell that you've done a lot of inner work when you say that. Like you have this wisdom to know where things come from. And again, like I've been there and I will continue being there. Self-development is not a one and done deal, spiritually neither,
Mm.
business neither, soul church. Like it's all everything is an ongoing process, and it's a beautiful road to take. I think it's really, like I keep saying it, like being in business, especially when you're trying to make meaningful business, something that is, you know, connected and aligned to you, to what you really want, to what you really care about. It is the fastest self-development program ever.
Totally. Yeah.
And nobody expects it, but you have to be warned about it. You're gonna have to face your shit. But it's beautiful because you have this, when you're connected to your why, to this higher purpose of why you're doing things, this is the deepest motivation you'll ever have to actually heal
Yeah.
and do that work. It
Yeah.
matters for you,
Totally.
it matters for the world, right? But yeah, sometimes you doubt, sometimes you think, do people even care what I'm doing? We all go there. This is a normal
Mm.
process. I think the more we work in it, the more we work with it, and the better we do. Sometimes not. It's a process. We're all in.
Yeah. Totally.
Thank you so much,
Of
Alina. To
course.
end off, is there a piece of advice that you would have given yourself at the beginning of your journey?
Go inside myself, and find all the answers,
Yes,
because we all have them inside of ourselves,
yes,
but
yes,
we just need to look. I think
exactly.
that it's probably the biggest, like, and the most important advice that
Yes, I
that I
love it.
could give to anybody.
Like that's gonna be your next reel.
Hmm,
Go inside
I
yourself.
will think about it.
We can find inspiration in everything we say, right? Thank you so much
Totally.
for being here today. And yeah, I'll make sure to mention just below the video your website, because I think it's ready now, and how people can work with you and connect with you and benefit from your amazing services. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you so much for having me.